I'm seeing lots of people coming in, joining us. Everyone should be joining naturally muted. So if for any reason your mic is not muted, if you can look at the bottom left corner should be of your screen and check to make sure everything's muted. We might have chances to unmute later on, definitely, but with all of us coming in, it's a little too much noise sometimes, so yeah. But we would love to have you guys turn your camera on if you have a camera and it's possible. We love to see everyone and know who's cooking along with us, so we encourage that. And yeah, so why don't we start out in the chat by messaging where we're calling in from.
And as we're doing that, we also have a fun tradition. Ruby, you want to introduce the kitchen cam and we can do some introductions as we're waiting?
Absolutely. So we have something fun that we like to do called the kitchen cam. It's modeled a little bit after the idea of a kiss cam, and it's where we'll be featuring people who are cooking along just for a minute to say hi. So we're looking for people that are potentially cooking along with us. Why don't we start with Stephanie? Looks like you guys are cooking along with us. Would you mind unmuting and telling us where you're from?
Hi, we're in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, and you'll be cooking along with us tonight, I'm seeing.
We're in Atlanta, Georgia. Where is it?
Yep, we heard you. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Awesome to meet you all. We have a lot of people. I'm also in Atlanta. I'm Julia, and along with Ruby will be Ruby's hosting, but I'm here as sous chef, I guess. Ruby, awesome. Who should we introduce next?
I'm trying to see who else is in the kitchen.
I see Connor. Shall we do Connor?
Yeah. Let me hang on to spotlight Connor.
Connor, come closer. Connor. Unmute.
Hey.
Hey.
I have you attached to my TV, so this is actually a real cooking channel. I am here in Pensacola, Florida, so just south of Atlanta.
Nice to meet you, Connor. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Sorry, scanning, folks, scanning.
Let's see.
How about, is Christina?
Oh, good call.
Hey, hi. We're from Ohio. We're cooking.
Thank you so much for sharing.
How about, I'm going to spotlight Paula for everyone. It looks like Paula is in the kitchen. I think we've seen you before, maybe. Hello again. Unmute on the left.
Hi, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. I guess I've done some of your other classes too, so yeah, you've seen me.
Yes, thanks for joining us. Who else?
All right, and if you're just joining us now, if you wouldn't mind, if you have a camera, please turning it on. And if you want to mention where you're calling in from, if you haven't had the chance to do, please keep adding that to the chat. And how about one more question? We would love to know where you found us. So like, was it Eventbrite? Was it through a friend or something like that? So if you wouldn't mind sharing with us in the chat, we'd be interested to know. And we're just going to wait a few more minutes, or not a few, we'll wait maybe a minute or two more just to give any people the chance. We have, you know, different cultures have different standard times is a fun joke we like to say. And us Jewish folks tend to run a few minutes late. So we'll be running a few minutes late, but thank you for bearing with us and everything. So I'm seeing a lot of Eventbrite and stuff. That's awesome. And really quickly, I think we should talk for a second about a few Zoom tips. I think a lot of us are probably familiar with a lot of fun Zoom stuff we can do, but just a little bit of a refresher. There is on the bottom left, you should have a mute button to unmute and mute yourself if you want to talk. There's a start and stop video button where you can turn on and off your camera. And we have a little reactions panel down in the tabs where you can do little fun reactions like clapping or a heart. So I'll show an example of a heart. So if anyone wants to test out any reactions, it's a great way to like show community spirit and fun together when we can't all unmute and have a conversation at once. So thank you so much to everyone participating. Really appreciate that. I'm seeing lots of hearts. This is so fun. Thank you guys so much. All right. And some waving. I think we're going to start talking a little bit about the plan for tonight. Does that sound good, Julia?
Sounds great.
All right, guys. Welcome and thank you so much for making it tonight. We're so happy to have all of you. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about what Tradition Kitchens is and what we're going to expect out of tonight. So Tradition Kitchens is a little Atlanta-based organization that started out with in-person classes way back when, not really way back when, but before the pandemic. And kind of the silver lining of not being able to do these in-person classes is that we've been able to connect with people both all throughout the nation and in different places in the world. You know, I'm not Atlanta based, I'm Pittsburgh based, and I wouldn't be able to come to any of these classes were they in person, even though it would be so lovely to all cook together. We would love that. So we find connectivity and community really important within Tradition Kitchens. And we created this fun virtual cooking space where we love to share all cultures and foods, different cuisines. And we really just want to build a strong and friendly community where everyone's welcome, essentially. We want to connect different age groups, all people from different walks of life, in, different cultures, generations, and stuff like that. So I think right now what we're going to do is, this is one of the last calls to turn on your camera if you don't mind. It's one of our big plugins because we really love seeing everyone's smiling faces. I think we're going to take something called a Zelfie, which is a little Zoom selfie. And we really just love to see all of our community and showcase our community. So again, last call to join us on video if you have the option. It's okay if you can't, but we again would love to see you. So if everyone wants to smile, I will count us down, and it may take a few seconds because we want to get all the people in this. So I will count us down. Everyone smiling. 3, 2, 1. And then another one. 3, 2, 1. And one more. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for joining us for that. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Julia to speak a little bit about the donation information for tonight now.
Thanks, Ruby, and thank you everyone for joining us. We have 96 people here, which is amazing. I'm Julia, and along with my mom, we started Tradition Kitchens, and I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity to all connect virtually, that Ruby is an amazing kitchen ambassador who has been hosting our classes during this time, and that Leah is a new friend who is teaching tonight. So we could give a round of applause for both of them virtually, or you could do it like this. I just wanted to say a brief word as we're getting started tonight. As Ruby said, we are all about community. This is actually our 40th class, which is crazy during the pandemic. We had even more before. So it's a pretty big milestone for us, and we're all are volunteer led and believe in championing and connecting communities. And so when we were talking with Leah about this, some of our classes have had suggested donations because we want to ensure that people are taking care of their neighbors, especially during this time. And so it's really important for us. There's been an unfortunate increase in hate and racism against the Asian American Pacific Islander community, in particular in the US. And it's very disappointing to us, and we want to stand as allies and strong in support of everyone in that community. So we encourage you, if you are able, to make a donation of any amount. Ruby, if you could just put the link in the chat for everyone to Stop AAPI Hate. It's an organization that is taking a lot of important steps to help address this, and we want to make sure that people in our community are stepping up as well. So we thank you for considering, and if you feel comfortable, let us know. We'd love to be able to report back on the collective impact that we all make to raise awareness. But please look out for your friends and your family and your neighbors, because we need to care for each other. So we are all about community, and we're going to take 5 minutes to get to meet one another. It's a really fun way for us to ask a question, find out a little bit more about the people we're cooking with, because you're all going to be virtually cooking together or watching along. We love people who join us to watch along. So I'm going to generate the breakout rooms. Ruby, what should people do when they go in the breakout rooms?
Why don't we just do a little introduction? We can say where we're calling in from. Again, that'll be good on an individual basis. Obviously, our names, and maybe a favorite appetizer, because often spring rolls can be a really fun appetizer. And then if conversation sparks, please continue. We're all about that and we love that. So please don't stop there.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to open the rooms. There are about 3 to 4 people. Do participate, do meet each other. I'll bring you all back in 5 minutes. Have fun and say hello. All right, welcome back. We're going to have lots of people coming back and joining us. We hope you had good conversations. Ruby, I apologize. I could not find the family that wanted to reunite and connect them. I tried. As we're coming back, anybody want to share something fun they learned about a fellow friend? Okay, no worries. Well, we hope you enjoyed your conversations. We're just
Well, I was
bringing
with
everyone.
Ruby.
Yes. What were you going to say?
I was with Ruby.
How fun.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
We had a fun chat.
Zareen, where are you from?
From St. Louis, Missouri, originally from India, Bombay.
Amazing. We just confirmed a upcoming Indian class. We'll do some promo at the end. So we've had one amazing samosa class that Ruby hosted. When was that? December?
Oh,
Love it. All right, it looks like we have most people back from their breakout room. So thanks for joining for that experiment. We know it's a bit different than a typical Zoom, but let us know how it went and if you made any new friends. And back to Ruby to introduce the main event and our amazing teacher tonight.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna give a little bit more of a little bit of transition to the cooking demo at this point, and just briefly like a few kind of frequently asked questions slash housekeeping. So for right now, the class is recording, as you can see in the top corner. So we have a YouTube channel, and we'll be sending out our cooking library, which is a resource where we put both the recordings of our classes and the recipes. So you'll have both access to the recipes and this recording after class. One thing about questions, the Zoom chat is now going to be, questions will be filtered directly to the hosts now, so that we can get easier access to them. And for questions, we're just, based on a few things we observed in previous classes, we're just going to ask that if you have any questions that are things like, you know, a conversion measurement or like possibly substitutions, we think it might be most efficient for you to get like the answers back as quickly as possible, just to Google them or whatever search engine you prefer the most, just because I think those answers will come back a little quicker to you, because we have to sort through some questions and we want everyone to get the answers as quickly as possible. So questions of that nature, and also our chef tonight is most familiar with the recipe as it is. So obviously any like very pressing questions, still very much feel free to ask, and we'll get the answers back to you. But I think those are all the housekeeping things we'd like to address. And without further ado, I want to introduce our amazing host for our class tonight, who is Leah from Hyundai, and she is being kind enough to actually offer our participants a little discount code, and we'll get more information to you, but I want Leah to be able to say hi to everyone. So I'm gonna spotlight you.
Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks to Julia and Ruby for setting this up. I'm Leah Valentine. I am the founder of a snack shop called Yum Day. It's curated snacks and monthly snack boxes that feature and prioritize women and BIPOC-led food brands. So the whole mission is really to help you discover your new favorite snacks and your new favorite snack makers who are diverse and innovative, and they create really wholesome and nutritious and obviously super tasty snacks. I'm so excited to be here tonight to share, a couple of recipes from my background. I'm Filipino. It was so great. I had a chat with Elaine in the breakout room, and we were talking about a shared connection, to the culture, which was amazing. But tonight, I'm gonna tell you my way of making lumpia and turon. So it's Filipino spring rolls two ways, a savory version and a sweet version. And one reason I like to make both of these is usually when I buy a package of lumpia wrappers or spring roll wrappers, I never get through the entire package. So I have to figure out really cool ways to continue to use them and make sure that I don't have any waste. So I am super thrilled to be here to walk you through these recipes. It's very easy. You can't go wrong. I'm excited for everybody who's cooking along with me. Just a disclaimer, I've never taught a cooking class before. I am definitely more of an eater and a home cook. So I'm excited to be doing this with all of you guys tonight. So Ruby, should I go ahead and get started, or is there anything else I should explain before we jump into prepping all of our goods?
I think we're good to go.
Awesome, cool. So if you are following along, we had the recipe sent out to everybody, but really the first part is just kind of getting all of the ingredients prepped. This is super simple. Again, you can't go wrong with lumpia. Now, one thing I do want to note is the way that we're doing it tonight, I'm cooking the filling first. You can actually make this with the meat raw, kind of forming it into more of a meatloaf and then filling your wrappers that way and then frying it up. But if you don't really want to, be handling the raw meat in the filling, you can actually get all your filling cooked and then placed. So first things first is just like getting your place set up and then getting all of your little veggies ready. So one of the first ingredients that I have there is like a medium onion, finely chopped. So I actually prepped this a little bit earlier. Let's just say there's a person in my household who's not a fan of onions. So sometimes I have to sneak it in by doing it early. So I've got that here. This is about one whole medium onion. Of course, what's so great about lumpia is you can feel free to just be creative and use whatever ingredients you want. And the next thing on the recipe that I provided, I put 4 garlic cloves minced. Another just disclaimer, I love garlic. So I probably just put in tons of garlic in my lumpia. You're, free to put however much you want. If you want it really, punchy and garlicky, the 4 is great. If you want to tone it down, go with 2. So I'm just gonna mince up my garlic right here. Now I'm curious, if anybody has had lumpia before. It's one of those classic Filipino dishes that you can usually find like at a potluck. I feel like it's not a party if you don't have the lumpia there. And then typically you'll have like your lumpia, your pancit, noodles all together, and it's just so delicious. And what I love about lumpia is like, it's so easy to share. You can make tons of it. And you can also make a bunch in advance and then freeze it if you want to. So I'll like make a ton of rolls and then I will freeze some and make them whenever I want to a little bit later. So he's got their garlic, just mince it up. You can crush it too. You can do whatever you want with it. I love the, garlicky flavor. So to me, I'm fine with like large chunks in my lumpia. All right. Some of you might have prepped already and be further along than I am with the garlic pieces. But that's because I love to put tons of garlic in the lumpia.
Leah, is it okay if I jump in and ask a question?
Sure, absolutely.
So we had someone asking, could you use an air fryer?
I feel like you could. I don't have an air fryer. I also don't have a deep fryer. I don't do that much frying, but I bet you really could use an air fryer with it. Particularly like I would feel really comfortable like if you did the cooked filling and then filled your lumpia, then really what the air fryer would do is just get that nice crisp spring roll part. So I say go for it. Experiment with the air fryer. But I think that's a great idea.
Another question for you about the wrappers. Where can people buy them at a regular grocery store or a specialty store?
I usually grab my wrappers from an Asian market that's around. I think some stores do tend to have like more spring roll wrappers now, which is really great to see. But I always grab mine from the Asian market that's in my neighborhood. And a little tip about the wrappers. So I don't know if you can see right here what I've done. When you get them, you know, you're supposed to keep them frozen until they're ready to use, and then you can defrost them. But something that you can do is just stick like a damp towel on top as you're prepping your other ingredients, so that way the wrappers don't lose moisture. So yeah, so that's what I've got over here hidden in this wet dish towel. Okay, so I've got some garlic ready to go over here. If you want to add ginger to it to give it just a little bit of a punch, you can do that too. You can just grate some ginger as well. So I usually grab like a little thumb's worth of ginger, and then we'll just like kind of grate a little bit and then stick that in with my piece of garlic.
If people have powdered ginger, any idea? We can try to look this up for people, but what's the substitution?
I don't know how to sub for the powdered ginger, but I think if you, I don't know, I feel like you can't go too wrong with too much ginger.
We're gonna go with like a teaspoon. How about general amount?
Yeah. So you got a little bit of ginger there. You've got your onions chopped. You have your carrots. You can add some sliced green cabbage if you want. So I actually just got this huge head of cabbage for my CSA. So I definitely need to use part of it. I think we're gonna try to make some sauerkraut with it as well. So I'm just gonna cut off a little side piece of it and then chop that up pretty finely into some little slices. And then I've got, just back to the carrots bit, about a half a cup there. If you want more, you can just go ahead and like grate an extra carrot in it. What's so nice is you don't have to be too exact with your filling. I usually do things like based on how it looks and how it smells, and then we'll taste it and see if it, you know, kind of gives me like a nice savory flavor there. I'm just gonna actually just chop this up into smaller pieces.
Leah, we might get to this in a little bit, but how did you first learn how to make this dish?
You know, I think it's just from like watching moms, aunts, everybody, you know, in your Filipino community make it. It's definitely a dish that you always see at like a potluck. And what's great too is, you know, if you're gathered with a bunch of other Filipino families, there's always going to be cooking and eating, no matter where you are. Like if you're Filipino or if you go visit a Filipino household, you're going to get fed. And chances are there'll probably be some lumpia there too. And so, you know, I think every Filipino mom, every Filipino aunt, uncle, dad has their way of making lumpia. So for me, you know, putting ground pork in it is like how we would eat it when I was a kid. You can also do like minced shrimp in your lumpia as well, or you could just go full veggie, which is delicious too. And there's different versions of lumpia as well. There's a lumpia Shanghai that is more of just like a meat in the roll. It's like really tightly rolled up, and that is delicious. There is also a version of lumpia that's kind of similar to like a Vietnamese crepe, where it's wrapped in more of like a crepe wrapper and then has a sauce on top. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take this. I feel like this is like a good amount of cabbage here. So I'll probably be like half a cup worth of cabbage, and then I'm gonna head over to the stove and go ahead and start heating up a little bit of the oil in the pan, and then I'm gonna bring all of these ingredients to the stove with me. All right, I'm gonna take you guys along with me. So that way I can keep chatting and talking to everybody. Alrighty. Cool. So this is my kitchen camera stand. There's a bag of rice as a counterweight to hold it together. So we've got that, and then I'm gonna grab my ingredients and we'll get ready to saute it up and then put the pork in there.
Leah, is there a difference between a lumpia wrapper or a spring roll wrapper, or are they the same? How are they
They
different?
are basically the same. I know like some of the wonton wrappers or the egg roll wrappers, it's almost a little bit thicker. And then you get that kind of like bigger fry to your roll. So these actually, when you fry it, they're gonna be like very smooth. They should be very smooth. I should probably say that. Versus like with an egg roll wrapper, wonton wrapper, sometimes you get like it, you know, fries up and is a little more bubbly on the sides. So I'm gonna grab one more thing. Alrighty. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start tossing all like the veggies into the pan, and then I'm gonna throw the ground pork in it. So I'm gonna do the onions first, the garlic, and the ginger, and kind of get it until it's all translucent. And let that work.
Are you cooking them in oil?
Yeah, so I put in about a tablespoon and a half of oil in the pan. Let that heat up, and then now I put the veggies in there. And then over here, so while this is working, you can actually go ahead and get your frying pan ready for where you're gonna put your rolls. So I've got mine heated up. Probably take 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the type of pan you're using. I'm just using a heavy bottom skillet here, so that's what I'm gonna fry my rolls in.
And would you mind showing us the wrappers that you use if we wanted to do it exactly as you are doing it?
Totally. And let this go. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in here to get them going. And then I will show you the wrappers I have. So this is what I picked up at my local Asian market. So it's a spring wrapper. It's great. It's already labeled lumpia wrapper, so you know you're good there. But as you can see from the picture too, what you're gonna get is more of a very smooth and fine lumpia roll versus one that, you know, fries up and kind of bubbles up on the wrapper. Yeah. And so this is like a pack of 25, and probably with the recipe that we're making, depending on how much filling you want in there, you know, you might do like 15, maybe 20. So there's always gonna, for me, I always feel like there's some wrappers left over that I need to do something with. And that's why the Turon is like such a great thing to make, because you get to use the same wrappers for it. So no waste there.
Are you cooking them until they're soft?
Yeah, I'm getting these a little bit soft. They're pretty much ready. So I'm about to put my pork in. I'm just gonna go ahead and add that in here as well and break that down. So that'll take a few minutes to go. So I'm just doing a pound of ground pork. And again, you can use really whatever protein you want if you want to do that. Minced shrimp, ground chicken works. Tofu is always a great option. Vegetarians. You know, what's funny is, as I've seen like people really into the keto diet, on Pinterest, there were a bunch of people making like keto lumpia. So it's basically just the filling and not being wrapped in any sort of spring roll pastry. So if you're on keto, you could just make this and eat it. just gonna break up this pork a little bit more.
I don't know if I asked this,
Oh,
but someone asked about turkey, ground turkey. I'm
Oh,
assuming
yes. You could do ground turkey. I've done that before, and it's really delicious. Sometimes with the ground turkey too. This is, you know, probably not very traditional, but we'll put in the ginger and cilantro as well. It's like got a nice punch to it. So I love ground turkey.
Could I jump in and ask a few more questions? We're definitely getting, I think the star of the show tonight for the questions has been the rappers so far. So could I ask a few more about those?
Sure.
Also, sorry if I am repeating something that you've already answered, but someone was asking if they have ones, let me make sure I'm reading the question right, with rice flour. Are those okay, do you think?
That might fry up a little bit differently. I'm trying to think of the rice flour ones. I don't know too much about what would happen if you use those. I feel like it should be fine. It might be kind of thin though, so it could potentially like burst in the frying. But I say give it a try and see how it goes. I'm curious if it was like the rice flour one that was round, because sometimes there's like you can get the round wrappers too. And with those you can, you know, you can still cut them to make like more of a triangle or squared off shape for wrapping your lumpia if you wanted to. But I've seen people use like the round wrappers as well. And I think those might be like the rice wrappers. But that is a great question. I'll have to experiment with that.
And then someone was asking, they got a package of spring rolls which were dry, but they said it came with no instructions. So they were wondering, do they need to be soaked?
Oh, dry, like a dry wrapper. I wonder if is it like the, if there's a dry kind of clear wrappers, those you would actually, soak in water. And then I'm not sure if those are great for frying. Those might be more of like if you're doing like a fresh roll, kind of like a Vietnamese fresh roll. So you can soak those wrappers that are really dry, the rice wrappers, and then it gets it wet enough, and then you can actually wrap like, you know, your veggie filling or your protein in that. So I hope that helps. I'm gonna season this a little bit. A little salt.
Could you also remind us again, what was the brand name for the wrappers that you're using?
I think the ones that I have were Wei Chan, Weichan. But there's so many varieties. If you go to the Asian market, you'll see like there are a zillion different varieties of wrappers. What's great about these, like they're spring roll pastry, so you can look for spring roll pastry, or it'll say lumpia wrapper on it.
And then, sorry, I think a few more questions. Someone was asking, how long will the wrappers keep in the freezer?
You know, if you could actually make your lumpia and freeze it, it should be good for like another month or so, or 2 months. If you keep the wrapper itself, like before the package is even open, I think it could last like a couple of months. The only problem is I've never left wrappers untouched in the freezer for that long before. But it should hold up. The issue is, of course, once you open it up, you know, trying to get it and trying to use it all.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. I'm sorry I keep like, jumping in.
No, these are good questions. I'm gonna add a little soy sauce to mine now. I think in the recipe I said about two teaspoons. I kind of just do it based on like the smell and the look, so it just gives it you know, a little bit more of that sauciness there.
We also had a few tips that people were sending in the chat. We had people saying you have to soak the rice wrappers potentially, and I also am seeing, just a suggestion. Someone said they used ground turkey mixed with chopped shrimp.
Oh, that sounds really good. I like that combo. I'm gonna do that next time.
And then someone else was saying, if you use the rice flour ones, they won't get as brown. So you might expect them to be a little more pale when they come out. So just thank you guys for sharing some fun
Yeah, thank
tips.
you.
We appreciate it. Back to you, Leah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm letting this kind of finish up. I'm gonna go take some green onions and then chop those really quickly and then throw them here towards the end. So I'm going to let this work for a bit. I'm gonna chop some green onions and I'll be right back there.
For people who are cooking along, do you want to let us know by unmuting how it's going, or if you're watching and you haven't had a question answered, let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to see how people are doing. I'm sure it's going great.
Do you have a recommended oil, a favorite oil that you use?
For this, it's just a vegetable oil that I use. So, you know, pretty generic. I don't really have a go-to. I hope everybody who's cooking along that their like kitchens are smelling really good right about now. It smells amazing here.
I'm looking to see if anybody maybe Julie, we'll add her to the spotlight. How's it going there? If you can share. How's it going? You want to unmute and say hello?
Hello. So I think I got the wrong kind of wrappers, but I think it'll work. It'll just be maybe the raw kind of spring roll.
Oh yeah, those should work.
I tried frying when they're really thin, so the stuff kind of falls out. I'm afraid I'm going to make the smoke alarm go off, but it smells good and it looks good. So now I know I need to look specifically for lumpia wrappers.
Those wrappers are delicious though, but yeah, I see what you're talking about now. Yeah, the rice wrapper where you would kind of put them in the water to kind of, yeah. Get them softened up.
Sounds like everyone is improvising, which is always a good skill to have in the kitchen.
Yes. All right, so I'm gonna take this off the heat. I'm actually gonna stick this in a bowl, so I'm gonna let it cool down. And then while it's cooking, or while it's cooling, we can kind of chop up our bananas and get them ready for the turon, because after that, then basically it's like filling and then rolling everything up and then dropping them in the fryer. This is so awesome. I would love to see pictures of people's dishes, you know, everybody who's cooking along. So
I think I'm good.
no, yeah.
Thank you.
Looks like Stephanie is showing us, so I'm going to add Stephanie. And as I'm adding a few people to the spotlight, a couple quick questions. Did you add the scallions already?
I did, yeah. When I stepped away, I cut up some green onions real quickly and then threw them in towards the end because they cook so fast. So I've got the scallions in there. We've got the whole filling. So now it's got the cabbage, the carrots, the ginger, the garlic, the scallions. All in it.
Oh, when did you put the
It smells good. This is
Okay. So
like a great facial.
steam. All right. And check out what's happening at Stephanie's house. There's
Ooh,
looks great.
that is looking good.
And what about, do you ever recommend cooking like the meat separate from the vegetables to keep the grease separate is the question?
Yeah. Yes, you can cook them separate. Typically, like if I was doing this, sometimes I'll have a couple of things going, and then that way you can just like drain the grease out of it. So I'm like trying to strain it with a little slotted spoon here when I put it in this bowl. But yeah, you can cook them totally separately. and then do your meat in one pan and then your veggies in the other. And that works well. And then just get them all mixed up at the end.
Did you put the garlic in after the onion? I didn't see you put the garlic in.
Oh yeah, so I had like just threw my garlic in with the onion and the ginger kind of all at once. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So as I am gonna let this cool down, I will just like bring this little cart over here. Perfect. Clean up my space a little bit. All right. So for the Turon, so as the lumpia filling is kind of, well, I'm gonna move this over here. So that's cooling down. What we can go ahead and do is make the Turon. So the Turon is like a banana lumpia, which is really delicious and great. It's a good, easy dessert. And typically, like in the Philippines, there are these little, variety of bananas that are a little bit smaller, pretty sweet. So we would use that, but you can use a regular banana for this. You can use plantains. I like it when the banana is a little bit overripe. So it's kind of similar to like when you're making a banana bread, how you want the banana to be, a little overripe because of this extra sweetness that comes out. So I'm just gonna grab one and I'm just gonna slice it lengthwise and then cut it in half so it could fit inside a lumpia wrapper. And what I'm gonna do is put a little brown sugar in this dish because, I mean, you can't go wrong with Turon. It's gonna be banana coated in brown sugar that's wrapped in a spring roll wrapper and fried. So it's gonna taste delicious. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of brown sugar in here. We're just gonna roll that out. And then something else too that you can add in the Turon. I picked up a can of this. You can get, you can see it there, canned jackfruit. You can get, and this is like jackfruit that's soaked in a syrup. So it adds like an extra different type of sweetness and fruitiness to your Turon dessert. And an interesting fact that I read about jackfruit is that the flavor, I guess, of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit Gum is very similar to jackfruit, the way jackfruit tastes, because they both have the same chemical compound called isoamyl acetate. So that's your nerdy science fact for today. So I'm just gonna slice up the banana a little bit, doing it like lengthwise, and then I'm just gonna kind of coat it in this brown sugar. It's gonna be so sweet and so good.
It's amazing.
The Turon, that's like really all you need to do with it. It's just sugar and banana.
And a quick follow-up question. What is the name of the smaller bananas again? And can you use pineapple instead of jackfruit?
The smaller banana is like a Saba banana, S-A-B-A. So you can find that, probably find it also like at an Asian market. Uh-oh, AirPod fell out. And then pineapple instead of jackfruit. Yes, you can totally. I say you could put pineapple instead of jackfruit in here. So I'll show you what this jackfruit looks like, and we can slice that up as well. So you can see where it comes out. So you can already get them like sliced up, or I just got like the whole jackfruit. And actually, the jackfruit seeds are things you can eat as well. So this is really good. It smells delicious. Just slice that bit up and also toss it roll it around, just adding sugar and jackfruit to it. Super good.
Okay, we
All
have
right.
we need a quick help session. Someone has, Christine has an entire jackfruit. What does she do? How do you cut it up?
Oh my gosh.
Looking for you,
So
Christine.
you've got like a huge jackfruit.
Let's find her. And
Yeah.
see. Christine,
So
hold on. Can you turn on your video? We would love to spotlight you. And
yeah, I'd love to see this huge jackfruit.
okay, we've got her here.
Hi. I'm actually not cooking. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm actually not cooking right now because of the jackfruit. I wasn't sure what to do with it. It's all my grocery store had, and we've been doing grocery store pickups, you know, and so I didn't even know what it was until I found it in my trunk. Can you see it?
Yes, this is awesome. I'm so glad you have a
So
whole
massive.
jackfruit.
I mean, here's my hand. I mean, my son was like, "Oh my God, Mom, what happened?" And so I don't know what to do.
Well, you have a lot of jackfruit to eat, but something that's really cool about jackfruit is it like picks up, it's great for anything that you want to make that sweet and also savory. So you can, the texture, the way it kind of like
Yeah, it's
spreads
pokey.
up. Yeah. When you cut into it, I don't know if you want to actually cut into it right now, but if you slice it up, you'll notice that the fruity part shreds almost like a shredded chicken. So you could actually use it. It's like a great vegan food, like if you want sort of a meaty meaty dish.
So
This
I
is so
just cut it in
exciting.
half?
So you do it long, you can do it long ways. If you can, be careful though, it will.
All right.
But yeah, just you can do it however way you feel comfortable, because that is a very big pokey fruit.
Oh,
I
it's
hope
starting to
you
get smelly.
Can you smell it?
Yep.
The smell is pretty strong, not as strong as like a durian.
It's not like durian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a alien.
It is.
Oh my God. That is a great word for that.
Yeah. So when you pull that, like the yellow stuff out, it kind of shreds, and you can use that. You can probably just eat it if you wanted to. And you can put that in the Turon. So you just like, I dig my fingers into it and then yank it out.
This part, I don't eat this part or these things, just the yellow.
I never really eat the seeds, but people like say you can eat the seeds.
Wow.
I've seen like jackfruit seeds in like also soaked in a syrup, and it looks really good.
It does smell like juicy fruit gum. I haven't smelled that since the 80s, but yep.
So it smells like juicy fruit. But yeah, you can grab the the fruit, the shredded part, and then put it in, you know, your anything sweet that you want. But you can also cook it as if it was like a chicken dish, you know?
Maybe I'll put it in a cocktail with vodka.
Ooh. Oh, there we go. Jackfruit seeds can be roasted.
Well, there you go. Thank you.
Oh my God, I
Wow.
love that you had a whole jackfruit. That's so cool. So what I've got like my bananas already over here. I've got the pork and the meat filling ready. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and like start wrapping things up, literally. We can start with the pork dish might still be a little bit warm, so we can go straight to the Turon first and get that wrapped. And I'll show you a little bit of the wrapping technique that I use. So what I do when I get the wrapper out is I turn it like, make it like a diamond. So this diamond shape, you've got your little points there. For the banana pieces, anytime you like load up your wrapper, I usually do it down at the like the lower third of the roll. So I'm doing dessert first. And that what the saying, it was like eat dessert first. And you can fill it up as much as you want. Just put like a couple little pieces of banana there with the jackfruit. My fingers are sticky, so I'll put that down. But you want to like roll the bottom part over the top first and kind of get it going. And then once you get to the center point, you can fold in the sides. So it kind of forms this little envelope. And then you continue to roll from there. And then you stop a little bit short of the top. And then that's where you grab your adhesive, which is just water and your finger. So let's see, we get that there. Yeah, so now that it's rolled up here, I dip my finger in the water and then just kind of like wet the top part, and then that will seal it up. Some people use an egg wash. I keep it simple, water and finger, and that's it. So that is a Turon right there. And then now I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the port filling. So something to note, and this happens to everybody, you're gonna break the wrapper when you try to peel it off. At some point, you're gonna do that. Don't worry about it. You have a ton of wrappers there. You can also double wrap your lumpia if you have a busted lumpia wrapper. But you know, don't worry about it. It's good. So yeah, this is typically the type of wrapper that I use when making lumpia. Alrighty.
Leah, could I jump in with a question or two really quick?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we had someone asking, is mango okay to use?
Yes, mango is great. Mango will, I mean, as you can see too, from like the jackfruit, you're gonna get a very similar kind of texture and the smell. So you could do mango too. Again, you know, just kind of like slicing it up just so it fits in your Turon. It might be a little harder. It might take a little while to like soften the mango when you're frying it, but it should be good. I feel like with Turon, what's so great is you can fill it, you know, I think as long as you've got that banana filling, then you're kind of true to the roll. But experimenting with different fruits is always so good. You could do the jackfruit, mango. I love the pineapple idea. I'm gonna have to try that. So whoever suggested that, I'm gonna do that one. And then too, just like making, you know, a fruit dish to go along with your Turon is nice. It's just a really great balance to have like that fruity flavor with your sweet, you know, fried dessert.
And then, oh, is it okay if I ask one more?
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you have a tip for storing all that jackfruit if you cut it up but can't get to using it yet?
Yeah, so you can actually use it in a few days. So I put it in just this Pyrex that has a lid, and then I will refrigerate that. And then you can, yeah, eat it over the next few days. It's really, yeah, you could just like kind of nibble on it. I do that with my fruit and dessert over time, but that's a good way to keep it stored. And I keep it soaked also in the syrup, so I don't drain the syrup from it. So it still sits in that nice sweet juice. Cool.
So these are not the regular wrappers. They're
So I'm going
specifically lumpia
to.
wrappers. They're not egg roll, they're not these, they're lumpia.
Oh, wait, someone is not on mute. So just reminding everybody to please stay on mute.
Great. So I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna roll up a lumpia here. So I'm just gonna do a couple of spoonfuls of the filling and just sort of layer them again, similar to the Turon, down like on the lower third of the wrapper. You can make this, you know, as thick as you want. I probably do like a couple of spoonfuls there. And then similar method, you know, kind of bringing that bottom part, rolling it over. You sort of tuck it in a little bit to make it a little tight right here. And then rolling it again until you get to this like center part. And then folding it in. It's like in a nice little envelope, and then continuing to roll. And then when you get to the top, just dipping your finger in the water and then sealing it up that way. So now you've got a lumpia wrapper. So you can keep going and making as much of this as you want. I know we are running short of time, so what I'm gonna do is take these guys and I'm gonna toss them in the fryer to show you what we're looking for with the final product. So I've had my fryer going. It might be a little too hot. So it's gonna sizzle quite a bit, but we'll make it work. All right. Bring this over here. There we go. So you can see it's already like from the stovetop cam. I'm just going to drop both of them in. And if you check out the stove camera, you can already see that it's like crisped up really well. It seriously only takes like a couple minutes on each side to go because my oil was pretty hot since I had it heating up. It's frying up super quickly. And you can drop in like 4 or 5 at a time and get it going. So as you can see how this looks here. And go grab a little paper towel. And of course you want to like let some of the grease out and let it sit because it's going to be super, super hot when you bite into it. Literally, that is all you need to do. Once you get your lumpia wrapped and your turon wrapped, you just drop it in the fryer, let it fry until it's nice and golden for, you know, a couple minutes on each side, and then you're ready to go with it. One of the ways I love to serve lumpia is with a sweet chili sauce. So I can show you what that is, the sauce that I like to use for it. And then for the turon, a few things that you can do on the top. If you have a caramel sauce, or if you want to whip up a quick caramel sauce, you can drizzle that all over the turon, and it's really delicious. Sometimes I will dust it with a little powdered sugar, which is also good because I guess you just can't have enough sugar for that. And it's also amazing when you serve it with ice cream. Good, just, you know, vanilla ice cream and turon is wonderful. So this is the chili sauce that I typically like to use for my dish. I don't know if you can see it. A little sweet chili sauce there. It's super delicious. And then if you want to see what the inside the little bits are, it's nice, smoky, and a little bit steamy and hot. But that is really like the easiest, one of the easiest dishes, one of the best, most creative dishes that you can, you know, make is lumpia. It's just whatever you're feeling like and what you want in your spring roll, making your filling and then wrapping it and then frying it, and then you're good to go.
Amazing. Thank you so
Anyone
much.
have?
Sorry, Leo, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna see if anyone had any questions. I know I was kind of speeding it up there at the end since we're running over, but it's really just that easy. And I mean, again, like what I love about it is you can be super creative with how you want to make your lumpia. You can, you know, top it with, if you want to be fancy, throw some microgreens on top, put different sauces on it. But you can't go wrong with like a good sweet chili sauce and, you know, very basic lumpia recipe.
So if anyone has any last minute questions, you can open up, the chat's opened up so you can send it to everyone, or if you have any comments, now would be a great time to send that. And we're gonna do a few closing remarks in a little bit. So let me see if there's anything. Someone was asking, if you use shrimp, would you need to cook it in advance before you use the filler?
Yeah, you can cook the shrimp in advance if you want to. You know, what I was saying at the beginning is it's interesting. Some people will make lumpia using like very raw ingredients and then fry the whole thing. Then so you could actually mince up your shrimp and put it in with the rest and keep it raw, and then it would, because it cooks so quickly. That might actually be an even better technique, is just to mince it up, make the filling, and then put it in the wrapper and then fry it. It might dry out too much if you cook the shrimp ahead of time, but it doesn't hurt if you want to go ahead and cook it and then have that ready to go.
Do you know how long the fresh jackfruit might last once it's cut up?
Ooh, I feel like, I don't really know. I don't know how long that would last. That might be something to Google. I think it's one, of course, that, you know, with being so fresh, probably try to use it as soon as you can. So you have to come up with lots of jackfruit recipes.
Also, before anyone signs off, I want to just send a few like resources into the chat. These will also be available through an email, but I thought I'd start out. I'll send our cooking library link so that you can see that now, and you'll be able to access the recordings and the recipe later on as well. And I want to put Yum Day in the chat as well, so that everyone please check that out. And I also would like
code too, right, Leah? The code is what again?
Yeah, so if you head over to yumday.co, that's my snack shop and snack box service, I have a special code for all the participants. You can use tradition15, tradition15 at checkout for 15% off your purchase from the store. And again, we have like some really great snacks from amazing women, amazing people of color, and you know, these are such great businesses that we're supporting, and it's really cool to highlight them. They're all independent and emerging food brands, and they're doing some really cool things in the snack space.
Yes, we love what you are offering and doing. And for those who don't know, what does BIPOC stand for?
It's Black, Indigenous, People of Color. So, you know, it's when we refer to people of color, or you want to be a little more inclusive or just talk about that population, that's what BIPOC stands for, BIPOC. It's for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color.
And then another announcement, we're going to be having another class coming up on next Friday at 3 p.m., which is going to be Carbonara with Alessandra. So that's looking forward to a future potential class. We'd love to see you all there again. And just, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. It was really awesome to see all of your wonderful faces. I hope if you cooked along that you are going to enjoy the recipe and Leah's amazing skills that she shared with us. And if you're just watching and planning on cooking in the future, I wish you a delicious meal coming up. I know it's going to taste great. I wish I was cooking along tonight. And yeah, thank you. And if you aren't going to cook along soon, but you know, plan on doing it later, that's totally fine. We welcome people no matter what joining us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Julia, and thank you, Ruby, for inviting me to be a part of this. This was so great, and I'm super excited because now I'm going to wrap up the rest of my lumpia and make dinner.
Thank you. And if anyone has any questions for Leah as we wrap up about Filipino food, cuisine, heritage, culinary heritage, we welcome you to ask that in the next couple minutes. Otherwise, you'll get everything, as Ruby said, in an email, can rewatch. So, and we have many other fun classes coming too. So,
wonderful. Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting lots of nice comments in the chat. So I think we'll give everyone like 2 or 3 more minutes and then we'll officially say farewell. Ruby, did you spotlight and see how anyone's turned out? Did we want to do that already, or I had to step away for a minute?
I did not do that yet. we could definitely do that. I just it seemed like I was kind of scanning around and it seemed like a lot of people were like in maybe a precarious time to possibly unmute, but maybe now people are in a better time because we'd love to hear how the cooking is going on for people.
Let's see, Connor, we're checking back in with you. And Allison, we're gonna add you and see how is it going. Feel free to unmute and let us know. Just scan.
I haven't fried them yet because I'm using my friend's air fryer, but I rolled them.
Ooh, those look good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Looks awesome. And Lillian, we added you here, and I'm gonna add Celeste in a moment if she wanted to say anything.
I got a couple of them.
Oh my God, Connor! Wow.
Nice. Way to go.
And Lillian, cool.
That looks good.
It doesn't have to look perfect, just tastes good to you. You're all set.
Yeah. The lumpia rolling is kind of like you could get into the zone. It's good meditation.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like Julie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ruby.
Looks like Celeste was showing them off.
Oh, nice.
These all look so good.
Those look fantastic.
It did work with the thin one, with the rice ones. It worked.
Ooh. I like it.
Yep.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, people are really tuned in. There's a lot of people watching along, so we can't wait to see what you come up with in the future. But I think we're going to let Leah eat her dinner. And just thank you again to Ruby for the amazing hosting, and also Leah for sharing your story and the great work that you do in the food industry, and to champion women during Women's History Month that we're in right now as well. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Our final farewell. See you. We can wave on the way out. Bye, everyone.